Hey there, thanks for checking back. It's Dr. Glenn, your WordPress security fanatic. We're talking about the Japanese keyword virus, what not to do after you have your site all cleaned up, and how to help with your SEO. So it's a big problem. I'm going to try to keep this website video a little shorter. So I'm not going to get into what the Japanese keyword virus is. I'm going to assume that you are here because you know what it is or you've been affected. If you need it cleaned up, reach out to me through my website, fixmyhackedwebsite.com, and I can do that for you usually within 24 hours. So what not to do? So what happens is the keyword virus has probably generated maybe thousands of erroneous URLs in Google, and it can take months for those to get cleaned out. And people just go crazy trying to figure out how do you get these things out of Google. There's no easy way to do it that's overnight. You have to work within Google's system. As of this date in June of 2023, Google doesn't have any tool that allows us to batch add files and ask it to drop it and to give you much control. And to make matters worse, these URLs that it's indexed, sometimes hundreds of thousands of them, don't exist. They're just erroneous URLs that only exist in the database of the person who has a WordPress website or just in Google's search based on different criteria. There's like a real famous one that happens as a result of an accident between the coding hook for WordFence, but then there's other ones that are more nefarious because of just simple malware. However, it ends up being the case, you're probably here because your Google SERP results are just messed up. They're just a mess. So either they have Japanese keywords all over them, or they are even after they're cleaned up. You know, it doesn't have to be to redirecting. You can clean it up, and it's still a big mess. So let me talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see people make first of all. So let me share my screen so you can see what I see, just to make this a little bit clearer. And so what I've done here is just on my fixmyhackedwebsite.com page, I just put in some erroneous stuff. So this is a URL that doesn't exist, and it takes me to this 404 page. And if I go over here to an external tool and I throw that same URL in and check, you can see that I'm getting a 404 header. And so what happens is that when you have a bunch of sites, the URLs that are inaccurately reporting inside of your Google account, Google's search engine indexer, the spider, will come to your site and it'll check through everything and it'll get those 404 errors. And then it would de-index you, right? Well, not so fast, because 404 means that it's temporarily removed. And so it has to come back and visit over and over and over and re-index your site over and over until finally it has accepted the fact that you're not going to put it back. It's terrible. It's a terrible situation, and people assume that 404 means gone forever, but it doesn't. That's what a 410 error is. It's 404 just means it's temporarily removed. So Google's by default, the WordPress gives a 404 error, so Google recrawls it over and over again, and sometimes for months before it'll drop those links. And so you can go out, you can hire somebody like me to clean up your website, but still the damage, you know, the SEOs, the money that's lost, it's just terrible. So I'm going to show you what the biggest mistake people make is right now. So in the site, I keep seeing this all over the internet, and it's just not true. People go to their 404 page, right, or their robots.txt page, and they say, I'm going to disallow that page. So in this case, it's just this page, right? And it would just be like this, right? And then they just put in, you know, hundreds of these, And so the idea that they think that what they think is going to happen and what people are lying to them about, and I've seen professional SEO experts say this because they just don't understand. Well, let me just say professional, right? We're freelancers and stuff that they don't know what they're doing. So what happens is Google comes to your robots.txt file, it sees a place that you don't want it to go, and it does not go there. So if the page is already indexed in Google, but it doesn't exist, and you have it listed in the robots.txt file, it won't go check. It won't realize it's a 404 or a 410 or anything. It just won't look, and it'll remain indexed. The only way that it eventually will drop off is if you go into the Google Search Console and drop it that way, which takes forever, and or some other site links to that page of yours that doesn't exist, and the spider just magically appears there, and that's not going to happen because the site doesn't exist. It just doesn't work. So that's a huge mistake. Do not try to get your erroneous search engine things delisted by telling Google to not index it via the technique of the robots.txt file. It doesn't work. It makes it worse, and your problem can last forever. Don't do that. So what you want to do is just definitely make sure that that's not in there, right? You do not want it. You want Google to index your site. And you know, the real pain in the butt here is that you might have hundreds of thousands of fake URLs, and that search engine spider from Google comes by, and it's costing you bandwidth, it's loading your server down, it's a pain in the butt just to see in the Apache logs all of these hits on your site that seem unnecessary, and then it comes back and it does it again, and it looks like a hack. To people that don't know any better, it looks like some kind of fake Google bot is on your site, but it's not. It's well, sometimes it is, but it looks when it's really Google, and it's coming to check all those fake URLs, and then it comes back and it checks them all again, and it can do that over and over and over, and until it's finally satisfied, and it drops them naturally. So I'm going to show you a technique that it doesn't do it overnight. There's no overnight fix to this, but it's going to help speed things up. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that the next time Google comes by in spiders, the very next time, now remember, we're not going to throttle them, we're not going to block them, we're going to let them check the site. And if it bogs your site down because you have some rinky-dinky, terrible hosting plan, you're just going to have to update or something. Google has to be able to get in there and crawl the site. Once it goes in and crawls it, we want this page that is the 404 that gives this header 404. We want it to actually give the header 410 permanently moved. Now, when Google encounters a page that's permanently moved, it de-indexes it right away. And so what it means is that it won't re-index your site over and over and over until it's satisfied that that 404 is not coming back. It'll actually re-index, hit the 410, and it'll say, oh, that's gone permanently. And the real problem is that people are out there saying, oh, you have to add no index tags and no follow tags to your 404. That's bullshit. That is not true. That all changed a few years back. That doesn't work. It actually has to be a 410. By default, the search engine tool, when the spider comes by and it hits a 404, by default, it's no index. By default, it's no follow. You don't have to have those tags. Any server code like a 503 or something, it's not going to index those. But when it hits the 404 page, and you would think that it wouldn't have indexed any of this stuff, it's either because malware got it added or there was a hook that pinged it out. At some point during the Japanese keyword virus or some other anomaly on your site, it ended up indexing all those pages that don't exist. And then any real changes that you make to your site aren't picked up right away because the search engine spider is constantly bogged down in all of this garbage that doesn't exist that takes months to clean up. So what we really want it to do is we want that the indexer, we want it to be there. We want to invite it to come. And when it comes, we want it to hit all those pages that don't exist, that it's inaccurately reporting, and then we want those reports to be 410, and then it goes away. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Inside of your WordPress, there is a in your file manager, you go to WP content directory, then to your themes directory. No matter what theme you're using, there's going to be a 404.php file. You're going to open that up and edit it. So we're going to edit this file, and then we're going to add a different header. So it's going to look very much like this in one way or another. And so first of all, you don't want anything in your 404 that can be indexed first and foremost. I know that some designers that are pretty lousy, they'll like put a form in here in your 404. So it'll come in, it'll say 404, and then there's a form to fill out. Oh, do you want to tell us about this problem, or what were you trying to find, and what's your experience of our website been, and blah, blah, blah. You just want the default. Trust me on this one, guys and ladies. You just want the default 404 page. And you don't want the different search engines and SEMrush and stuff. You don't want them to have anything to bite onto. So in any event, what we want to do is change this out. So this PHP has an opening tag here. Okay. Let me just try to get this here. So we're going to take the so we've got it. So we have an opening PHP tag. We have a closing PHP tag. We have a terminator here and this get header function. What we're going to do is we're going to get the 410 header. Okay. So instead of this 404, we're going to get the 410 header, and then we're going to it's going to escape at that point. So we're going to add a little code. I'm going to put this in my I'm going to put this code in the description for this video so you can just cut and paste it. You don't have to retype this. But basically, oops, put that in the wrong spot. Okay, so call the header. We have a server global, another server protocol global, the 410 code gone, which is the standard way. This little space right here isn't absolutely necessary, but it's best practice. And there you go. So we're going to save that. Now, if we go back to the RedBot and we tell it to check this website, it's going to give us a sort of a different thing. Now the header shows 410 gone. See that up there? It's gone. And there's not any other information in here for it to grab onto other than, it's a Lightspeed web server and so forth. But that's 410. So so if Google were to go to this page, this blah, blah, blah page that doesn't exist, or any page on my website that doesn't exist, the header that the search engine spider is going to be presented back with isn't going to be this is temporarily moved. It's going to be it's gone. It's permanently never again to be seen, and it'll delist it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If your website's hacked, reach out to me. I can fix it. Usually within a lot of times the same day. I'm here to help. I'll leave that information in the in the footer here underneath this video, as well as the code that you can paste into your 404, and then you can always go back and you can change it, again. But it'll help get the Google to delist all those erroneous URLs much faster. Be patient. You don't come back 3 days from now blasting this video saying, oh, it didn't work. The fact is that we can't control Google's schedule, how soon they're going to come, and the like. Every little bit and change helps. Remember, don't block Google from your site. Don't throttle it, and don't try to prevent it from looking at anything in the in the directory. And then one more thing, well, just lastly, with regard to that WordFence tool, if this has solved your problem, now you can just take off. But if you use WordFence and the issue that you're having is that WordFence, all those erroneous WordFence URLs were listed, what you can do is you go to WordFence and go to all options. And then in the all options area, there's there is a search for live traffic options here. So what you want to do is you want to limit this. So you make this like 5 and make this like 1, because a lot of those are the results that Google's picking up that are getting pinged out if you have that that particular kind of malware that's causing that issue. So shrink those, cut those down to nothing. And then there's a little code that you can add that actually turns live reporting off while you're dealing with all your problems, and you can go change it back later. So I will go ahead and add that code as well to the end of this video. So you'll put that in your wp-config.php file. It's just a definition that turns WordFence live traffic off, and I'll post that in. So hope this helps everybody. God bless you. Thank you for checking. I am here to help. I love to help, so reach out to me if there's anything I can do for you. Take care, and I'll post a new video with new tips soon. Bye-bye.